So before we begin, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can be made aware every time we put out a new video. And remember to check us out on Instagram, and now you can also find us on Facebook for exclusive content. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of All Things Universal Orlando. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 5 kid-friendly rides or attractions on the Islands of Adventure side of things. Last week we did the Universal Studios side, and now I thought, well, let's do Islands because there's some pretty good stuff there as well. So let's get right to it. Now before we begin, again, just like last week, I want to preface this. This is basically my interpretation of kid-friendly based on the maybe 2-year-old through 5th or 6th grade. So the elementary school age child, for the most part, is really what I'm kind of gearing this towards. Maybe 2's young, maybe more like 4 or 5 through 5th or 6th grade. But some of these things are really good for even your littles. Like I said, I've taken both my kids, they grew up at Universal, and from the time they were 2, they really enjoyed most of these attractions. So here we go.
Great Scott, number 5.
Number 5 is the Carousel. Now, I know that it's just a simple carousel, but I don't think it is. I think it's better than that. It doesn't have just horses and carriages and, exotic animals and things to ride. This one has characters right out of Dr. Seuss's books, and I think that's impressive, and they're really neat looking. And at the time of the filming, they're refurbishing the Carousel right now, and I'm excited to see what it looks like once it's done. This was an attraction that we always did. We never walked by it. We'd always go on, even as adults. It was just fun. It's a simple carousel. It's pretty fun. Generally speaking, it's not a long wait. You can get on. Even in a busy time, it doesn't take a long time to get on this attraction. And it's just fun. It's a simple carousel, but thoroughly enjoyable and themed brilliantly. It is open to pretty much all children, but if you're under 48 inches or 122 centimeters, it's going to require adult supervision. So you may have to stand there and hold your child. Well, we did that, and we love doing that. And so you might have to do that too, depending on how old your little one is. But for all of those reasons, Carousel comes in at number 5.
Hey, here's number 4.
Number 4, you don't have to go very far. If you just rode the Carousel right across the walkway there, is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. Same requirements. Under 48 inches or 122 centimeters is going to require adult supervision, but there's no minimum height on this. You can take a 2-year-old on it. And it's just like King and Kodos or Dumbo. It just goes around in a circle, raises up and down, except you might get wet. And little kids love when you get squirted by the fish. They don't like necessarily when they get squirted, but when you get squirted, they love that. Or at least that's how it was with Mia. Mia and Carla will still ride together and try to get the other one wet. It's pretty funny to watch. And in any event, it's a simple, like I said, circular ride just like King and Kodos. But it's fun. The music's festive. It's got that feel. You're riding in fish out of a Dr. Seuss book, out of the Dr. Seuss book, and you might get wet. Listen to the song. Of course, it might trick you. I'm not going to tell you. You may or you may not get wet, but it won't stay real long and you'll dry up pretty quickly. It's just a fun, very kid-friendly ride that we always do. We never miss every time we go, sometimes more than once, if I'm honest. Even on a busy day, not an overly long wait, and on a non-busy day, you can go on it multiple times. For all of those reasons, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish comes in at number 4.
Hello everybody, I'm Labby the Cabbie, and here comes number 3.
Number 3 is in the Wizarding World, Flight of the Hippogriff. Now, this is a fun, kid-friendly coaster. It's just a re-theme. It used to be the Flight of the Unicorn way back when Islands first opened, but they re-themed it to the Hippogriff feel, and they've done a really good job of that. It's not too short, and it's not too long. It might be a little intense for some really little kids, but it might not. You are going to have to gauge that as a parent. It has a minimum height requirement of 36 inches, 92 centimeters. It's big enough for an adult to fit, although not comfortably, but big enough. And I'm 6 foot tall, weigh right about 200 pounds, and that's right. That's about the pinnacle. If I was any bigger, I probably wouldn't go on it. But it is big enough to to comfortably seat an adult and perfectly large enough for children. The theming is tremendous to me. It's underrated. I know that most of it is just a line, but when you're walking along the backside of Hagrid's hut, I remember the first time in that queue, I thought this was one of the better queues simply because you're seeing Hagrid's hut. But of course, now that the Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure is open, you see the whole other side of that, and it's taken to a whole nother level. But in any event, Flight of the Hippogriff is a fun attraction. You get the animatronic of Buckbeak there when you first go up. The views are spectacular. When you turn the corner, you get to see Hogwarts right there next to you. You see all of the Wizarding World. It's really an impressive, kid-friendly attraction. And for all of those reasons, Harry Potter, Flight of the Hippogriff comes in at number 3.
Number 2!
Number 2 is one of my favorite attractions in all of Universal Studios. It's a kid ride. Generally speaking, it's the first thing we ever go on when we get there. It's like a tradition. We go into Islands of Adventure, we take a quick ride, Cat in the Hat, first thing we do every time we go, or so it seems. It's fun, it's festive, it's kid-friendly, it's funny. The animatronics are good, they work. It's just fun. I mean, the car spins, and I love it. Minimum height requirement, 36 inches, 92 centimeters. Mia loved this as a child. I mean, from the time she was 2, she would sit there and just want to go on it over and over and over again. She also watched Cat in the Hat, the cartoon or the show when she was little as well. So this is a special ride for us. All of Seuss Landing is beautifully designed and beautifully themed for children, and you can spend a lot of time there if you have little kids. And I'm grateful that Islands of Adventure has Seuss Landing there for this purpose, because there is so much to do, so much to see for your littles. And for all of those reasons, the Cat in the Hat, as iconic as that is, comes in at number 2. Honorable mentions, I have 3 of them. Now, bear with me. One is the Hogwarts Express. Again, it's an honorable mention because if you don't have the Park Hopper or the Park to Park ticket, you can't get on this attraction, and I don't want to assume that that's what you have. But if you do have it, go on it. You won't regret it. It's tremendous. Next is Storm Force Accelatron there in Marvel's Superhero Island. It's just a teacup ride, and the reason I think it's kid-friendly is because you can spin as fast or as slow as you want to go. And if you go real fast, you're going to get sick. It's fun. But if you have little ones, you can take it at a moderate pace, and they're going to have a great time as well. And, it's a really good transition attraction there in Superhero Island, because if you have a little one who might want to go on Spider-Man, which might be a little too intense for a little kid, if they do well on this, that might build up some courage, and then they can go on Spider-Man or something like that. I think it's a good kid-friendly attraction, but I don't think it's any better than good. It's just a simple teacup attraction that you could find at a state fair. But it is themed relatively well, and it's fun, and it's just a teacup ride really at the end of the day, and so it's an honorable mention. Your third honorable mention, some of you I'm sure would have this in the top 5 and maybe even high. The reason I don't is because I can't get on it, and that is Pteranodon Flyers. Now, it has a requirement of 48 inches, under 48 inches requiring supervision. And your kid is going to have to ride alone in the cart in front of you, and I've seen waiting in line where some kids get really scared with that. So I think this one might be a little bit intense for little kids. I think if you're kids under 6, 7 years old, probably not the attraction for them. Now, I could be wrong. Feel free to leave in the comments if your littles love it. But I've seen kids get really scared if they can't ride with mom or dad, and you cannot do that on this one. It's fun. I've been on it a handful of times, and Pteranodon Flyers is a great attraction. I think it's equally thrilling for adults. It's fun being up high and looking out and flying over. It's very short-lived, but a good attraction. But because I can't get on it without a little one, and I don't have a little one, it doesn't make the top 5, and it comes in as your last honorable mention. So before we get to the number 1, let's recap the top 5. Number 5 is the Carousel, for all of the reasons I gave you. Number 4, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. Yes, it's just a Dumbo ride. It's just a Kang and Kodos twirling ride, but it's fun. You might get wet. Follow the song. See what happens. Number 2, Flight of the Hippogriff. I like the queue when you go back in the backside of Hagrid's hut, and the attraction has some pretty good views when you get onto the top. Number 2, the iconic Cat in the Hat. A great attraction, kid-friendly, adult-friendly, colorful, fun, festive. I love everything about it. So here it is.
Number 1!
The number 1 kid-friendly attraction at Islands of Adventure? High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride. Carla has this in her top 5 attractions at Universal's Islands of Adventure. I don't have it in my top 5, but I didn't have a problem with her having it. This is just a great attraction. The queue's nothing special, but there's just something to be said about riding a train high in the sky, going through Circus McGurkus if you have that track open, seeing everything, looking out over all of Islands of Adventure, over the water there, seeing the skeeches that are floating in the water, and all of the things that there are to see are just tremendous when it comes to High in the Sky Seuss Trolley train ride. It's just a tremendously fun attraction. It is pretty comfortable. Minimum height of 36 inches, 92 centimeters. It doesn't require, if your child is under 48, that they have supervision. The seating is comfortable for adults and children. It's just fun. It's pleasant. It's long. I don't know how long it is, but it's not a real quick ride as far as kid rides go. It takes a while to go along the whole track, and it's just fun. If you've never done it at night, do it at night. It's just a totally different experience when you look out in the dark and see all the lights of the theme park. And for all of those reasons, High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride comes in as your number 1 kid-friendly attraction in Islands of Adventure. Hey guys, as always, please like and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be made aware every time we put out a new video. And go pay this forward as always. Go find a way to bless somebody today. Go find a way to bless somebody tomorrow and every day from here on out. Do for others. You're going to find that when you do that, it comes back around. You watch what happens in your life. We'll see you.